Hi, I'm Justin Jones, and my partner is Brianne Lay. You'll see her later on in the presentation. She'll be wrapping it up, and we're going to talk to you about Dollar General and our analysis of them as a company. I'm going to talk you through the external environment that the retail companies are operating in. I'm going to talk to you about the industry of retail and the industry specifically of discount retail. And then I will lead you through an internal analysis of Dollar General as a whole, followed by Brianne talking through how we deliver value, what their competitors are doing, what key problems do we anticipate them running into in the near future, and what are our recommendations around some of those key problems in order to help them stay as successful as they've been over the last 10 years. So Dollar General is a discount retailer. They have over 15,000 stores around the country, 15 distribution centers in 45 different states. They have over 135,000 employees working in these stores. They did $23 billion in sales last year, which puts them at 123rd on the Forbes 500 list. And they've done this inside stores that are around 7,000 to 8,000 square feet, which is probably about a tenth of the size of your normal big box retail store. Their model is convenience. It's low price. They want to be where other people aren't, and they want to sell for less than where everyone else is selling for. They do this through a couple of different strategies. One is limited inventory. They are very specific about what goes in their store. It has to turn quickly. It has to be what people are looking for. You can get almost any commodity that you need in their stores, but you may not be able to get the brands that you're used to. They also have a very flexible retail model where they're able to rent, buy, get in different types of spaces, different size of spaces, expand and detract their store size as needed to get where they want to be. They've also focused very specifically recently on rural markets. And because of this, over 75% of their stores are now in towns that are under 20,000 people. So we know retail's huge. $5 trillion market. The discount retail sector is over $500 billion, so $500 billion. And any market that big is affected by everything else that's going on in the country. We're going to talk to you about a couple of very specific ones that have affected it more than others. Number one, the economy. We've had slow economic growth over the last 10 years. Because of that, people's disposable income has shrunk. The wage gap's expanded. The middle class has gone away. More people have fallen into that lower class. And because of this, how they shop has changed. Where they shop has changed. That has hurt the retail market in general, but it has actually helped the discount retail market. So these economic times have actually helped the discount retail market grow. As the country has slowly started to speed back up and that economy has started to improve, it will be interesting to see where those companies land on retaining those guests, on retaining those customers that they built up during the slow economic times. Second thing is demographic. 89% of people say when they're out shopping, they're looking for a low price. I don't know who those other 11% are. I wish I was one of them that didn't have to worry about the price at all, but I think most of us worry about price. So regardless of age, regardless of income, we're all looking for some sort of deal. We're all trying to get something for a little less. As long as we can get that value that we're looking for, we're looking to pay less. So while the discount retail industry is focused on that under $40,000 customer per household, and while that's where they're spending their majority of their time in their marketing campaigns and where they're putting their stores, this is still something that applies to 90%, to 9 out of 10 of us. This is something that applies to us all. Physically, what's changed in our environment is that we've become more on the go. We all have our phones. We have our ability to buy things on our phones. We have our ability to purchase things, order food, order clothes, look up information on the internet. And that technology change has changed our physical. You see large malls dying. You see big commerce areas going away as people do more and more of their shopping and they're buying online. When you play that into the discount retail area, again, that's where they're now building those small stores away from everything else, getting away from the Walmarts, getting away from the Targets, building where no one else is, being on their own, and taking advantage of that core customer that is most convenient to them. When it plays into the technology, though, that's probably the byproduct of the physical as well, is that people are more and more used to being able to shop and get information on their phones. That is something everyone goes to now. And when you look at this industry, they're behind. They're behind the turn on that. But we'll talk about that more on the industry analysis. So industry environment. Looking at the industry environment as a whole, the first thing we looked at, can people come in? Can people challenge Dollar General? Can people challenge some of those other companies that are already in there? And we think the threat of new entrants is pretty low. It is the economy of scale that these companies are running on at this point, 15,000 plus stores from multiple companies, the ability to buy on such a grand scale and pass those savings on to their customers really prevents someone from coming in, starting up, and trying to take on that profit margin that they would have to run at and buying at a much lower scale. In addition, the capital requirements, while not large for one store, are immeasurable when you're talking about building thousands of stores and a distribution network to get products from globally into these small rural towns where a lot of these discount retailers are located. And then finally, the ability for companies to know how to shop globally and source product globally. There's a learning curve there. These companies have been doing it in this industry for decades. They have it down. They know how to do it. They know where to go. And it would be very difficult for another company to just start up with doing that. We have, looking at the bargaining power, though, of them as a buyer, on the other hand, is high. They have a lot of strength here. They're not tied into a brand loyalty scheme. It's all about cost. So they're able to globally shop and find the product they want for the cheapest price possible, and that's the manufacturer they're going with. The manufacturers don't really have the ability to gang up or push when it comes to their pricing. On the same hand, as a supplier selling to the consumer, again, they still have a lot of power. These consumers normally make less money in their household, don't have a lot of other options and places to shop, so they have to get these commodities, they have to buy them, and this is really one of their only options, is whichever discount retailer is in their city, is in their town. Rivalry is high. There's not a lot of competitive advantage on either side right now. When you look at some of the big players in this industry, they all have about the same amount of stores, the same amount of sales. The only advantage really is geography. Where are those stores at? So they're in a race. They're fighting right now to get to those, whatever few small towns are left, whatever few areas are left that can support one of these stores. So they're really, really pushing hard on each other to who gets there first. Finally, and then the last one and the most interesting to us is the threat of a substitute. It wasn't there 10 to 15 years ago, but now it's getting close, and that's the online shopping, the online retail. As e-commerce grows and as access to the internet grows in these small rural communities, it's going to become a place where people can turn to and buy stuff from somewhere besides the major current players. Obviously, companies like Amazon or who leaps to mind. And when you look at the current players in this discount retail industry, they don't have a great technology based. They don't have a lot of online capabilities. So they are already playing catch up should someone come in from that direction. So we feel anyone coming in from that direction that would threaten this is either going to be a online retailer or possibly a established retailer who's changing their pricing strategy and bringing it down. So looking at the internal analysis of Dollar General specifically, Dollar General is a cost leadership company. They are here trying to provide a product for as cheap as possible and as convenient as possible. They very specifically are in rural areas, lower income areas. They're focused on those under $40,000 a year households, and they are focused on those towns that have under 20,000 people in it. They are trying to get as far away from Walmarts as they can so that they can continue to be the convenience leader and not just the cost leader. And they do that through limited inventory, only having top sellers, and turning the product on the shelf much faster than anyone else. When you look at their resources, we talked about it earlier, 130,000 people, 15,000 stores. They currently have reduced their debt quite a bit and have over $250 million to invest at this point, and have about a $2.1 billion in operating cash flow. So they have a ton of people, they have a ton of buildings, they have a ton of cash ready to go to be put back and reinvested into whatever they try to do. Their real estate strategy as well of not owning all of their buildings, only about half, is actually a positive resource in that they can move and change with the times and cities. You put these strategies, you put these resources together, what it provides you with is Dollar General has the capability to get low cost goods to marketplaces where lower income households have few or no other opportunities to shop. Combine all of this, you see a company that is winning in its industry and has both the resources and capabilities necessary to pivot to meet new market trends and new competitors in that market. So Brianne's going to take it from here and finish this off.